Hi, my name is Terry Bowen, and I'm here to share my story with you. And I did a life map a couple weeks ago, actually, and I'm just going to share that with you because I think it works well for this introduction. This is my life map. I began as a young girl in my family, my mom and dad and three other brothers and sisters, and I love them all, but they put handcuffs on me. Misogyny and prejudice and biases, and so that was my family. And also as a young person, I attended church and I loved it, and but that church was quite different than the church I go to today, and it also put handcuffs on me. And then I went to school, and I went to school in Commerce City, and that's a school that has been plagued with problems for a long time. And I also had handcuffs placed on me at that school. And so there I was, a person who was not living very freely in her life. And so I turned to drugs. And, it was not a very good time. During that time, there was a lot of heartbreak. And I was also sexually assaulted, and which also just added to the heartbreak. But during that time, I had a man tell me, "Are you always going to be a Commerce City girl?" And that had a big influence on me. Eventually, I had 2 children, and they really turned my life around, which wasn't fair to them, but that's too big of a burden. But it did, and so I'm thankful for them. Eventually, I became a wife and a mother, and I worked, and I just was living a regular life until more trauma happened in my life. And at that point is when I realized I needed to go back to church, but I needed a church that was open and accepting of everybody and loving. So that's what I did. And during that time, I said, "Hey, God, what is my purpose here on this world?" And I very clearly heard, "I want you to be a pastor." And that's when I began my dance with the divine. But eventually I said yes, and I came to Iliff, and while I was at Iliff, those chains that have been put on me when I was in Commerce City came off, and I am no longer a Commerce City girl. I'm here to fight for others, to fight for every other young girl who has been oppressed, to fight for people of color that have been oppressed, really people who are outsiders and people who need someone to say that they are loved. So that's my life.